Thanks. The only reason for this demonstration is basically me coming from a production side of things. I wanted to create musical instruments first and foremost. I'm not a religious person about analog or digital or Eureka or whatever. The only thing that's important for me is a pragmatic solution to some of the problems we were having in studios or for performance. And what I was actually thinking about when starting Birdkids, initially we were a label. We're still a label, but it's all about kind of contributing to the music in any way we can. So I see a lot of DJs taking some Eureka cases with them to gigs and supplying their drums from the Eureka, for example. And the demonstration was basically, how can I take my studio on road, still be able to kind of like digress a little bit from the sequenced part of things into some part of performance, and we're going step by step towards completely freeing up from the computer. Obviously, if I had more time to prepare, unfortunately, I work like 18-hour days every day, all week, to make this hardware happen with my team, and I don't really have time to play anymore, which is a sad part of things, but that's how it is. And basically what we're thinking about is giving the performers an ability to express themselves through the hardware. Doesn't matter which format, doesn't matter which media, it's basically just about expression. And there was a lovely talk yesterday with some developers and artists, and one of the most interesting topics for me was how the human being is still the most important part in this equation. And I would not be here if I didn't come from production as such, and the importance of being able to put my musical thoughts on paper or on the computer or whatever you choose to use. The most interesting part of Eureka for me is not necessarily the format, but it's the ability for small companies, like a 1 or 2 man company, to actually bypass the commercial side of things, having to have a corporation or some corporate thoughts, to put those ideas to like a real body of work, hardware or software, or wherever it is. It used to be like you had to have at least 20 employees to have a company, to have a production. Now you can do it actually from your garage, from wherever you're living. And this is amazing because we have some fresh ideas from people who are just coming from all aspects of life, all aspects of research and development. People from biology, people from architecture are putting ideas which can be used musically or performance-wise or media or whatever you're using. It's all very, very, very doable in the sense that you can basically make it work via rapid prototyping. This is the most exciting thing for me, and coming from production, coming from the music industry side of things, I was extremely frustrated with the dogma that every so often you open up a magazine and you're reading, okay, the music industry is trying to reinvent itself. Basically, in so many words, they're saying they're trying to find ways to sell more, or they're running out of ideas how to sell because people aren't buying. And to be honest, I think this is a good thing because we don't necessarily need them to sell. And I think this is the most important aspect of democratization of whatever the creative process right now is. We don't need them to sell, we need them to focus on the A&R side of things, maybe put that to good use, and actually have people focus on what to do best. So with that in mind, we approach Birdkids from a perspective of building musical instruments. What we have here is a small 42 HP system. I brought it to Superbooth, and I actually came straight from the lab to the plane to Berlin, and I didn't really have a lot of time with it, but I'm super excited about it. Just being able to play it is fantastic for me because it gives me the exact size and amount of expression that I need. It comes in a 42 HP custom case with wood size, and it's powered by USB micro B. This might not sound very exciting, but what's really exciting is that it's actually powered by a phone charger, like this one. So you could take it wherever you're going, like on an airport, you can start patching right away. This is pretty cool for me. And it's a 4 HP size, which means super narrow, but that's not it. It's already a 16-bit MIDI to CV interface as well, so you can actually have your pitch modulation, velocity, gate, trigger inside. And it's all via MIDI to 3.5 jack, so you're good to go. Plug your headphones in, patch at the airport, why not? I guess they're gonna arrest you for looking weird, but still, it's cool. So we've got a discrete core VCO. It's completely analog design, 100%. It's based on a UJT transistor, very much inspired by Mr. Bob Moog, but completely in a different direction in the sense that we implemented some temperature stabilization, and we've implemented a wide octave range with the help of a lot of people, and it's now accurate over 6 to 7 octaves, and it's going up and up and up. And we've got true zero frequency modulation on this one. We've got linear frequency modulation. We've got exponential frequency modulation. There's a built-in 4-pole filter, a sweet sounding. Packs quite a punch, goes quite deep. Yeah, switch. Very high standard, military standard Grey Hill switches. We're using very fine components, not because it sounds fancy on paper, but because we actually want people to feel safe when they're performing. Nothing as crappy as having your switch break down in the middle of a performance, people going wild. So we're actually designing with the artists in mind, and the VCO went into production after revision 4. I don't know if you guys are from the production part of side, but to make it plain and simple, if you open up like some of those plastic small keyboards that you can buy at every shop, and look on the PCB side of things, every so often you'll see revision 1.1, which means a guy sat at the computer, drew up the circuit, and a couple of weeks later went into production without any thought. Well, of course, some thought, but not really necessarily any quality control. And what we do is actually, all of us at Birdkids, very music-oriented people, and even the engineers, until it does not sound as good as we want it to sound, it won't see the light of day. I might bring it to a show somebody, but it's probably never going to be a product. And that's one of those things. For me, I'm not a salesman. I never wanted to sell my music. I never wanted to sell my products. I actually think of it as I present it, and the product will actually probably convince by itself. If it does not, then it shouldn't be sold anyway. So the thought is actually it's not necessarily a product as a market value. The only value we have at Birdkids is an intrinsic value in those instruments, and we want them to be playable, intuitive. The design is actually just color-coded for simplicity. It's quite intuitive for everybody, and the most important aspect of all of that in the design and the tactile surface is actually that whenever you press a button, you hear what you're doing. I don't want, some buttons going left and right without any reaction. So everything is a function per button. Everything is very simple and clear and structured. This one has, like I said, a power supply, a digital ADSR, AHDSR, 3 modes, variable curvature, exponential, linear, whatever the standards are, we implement those. Definitely, we've got a nice 4-to-1 mixer with some noise source as well built in, and the noise source is normal to the 4th jack. So, and then you can add some subtle noise. So, basically, what we do at Birdkids is develop musical instruments. That's the only message. If that's the only message you take with you today, that's cool. All right, thank you.